Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. So let's take a look at Shadowgale Average EX++. Now, I would highly recommend you to watch at least the first half of this video, and please make sure that you take in all the information that I'm about to provide to you because it is extremely important. So I really don't want to hear you guys say, "Oh my god, Daddy free-to-play, why is it that Ira is not buffing my Catherine, right? Why is Ira not buffing her?" I don't want to hear any of that, so please pay attention. So let's take a look at our relics, and I know my relics are a little bit overtuned, or I say overtuned, but it's just within the range of like whatever endgame should be. But I do believe that you can definitely scale their speed down a little bit. So Catherine, she has to be on Windwalker. You cannot give her Astral Witchcraft for this, or in the current status of the game, it's called Astralis. So Windwalker, super important. So give her as much speed as you can, and that's about it. Done. Now moving on to Chloe, so I did give her Ocean Waves because I do feel like this cycles her skills a little bit better, but some people might not run her with Ocean Waves, and instead some of the endgame players tend to use like War Machine. No wait, it's called Combat. Okay, yeah, some of them tend to use Combat instead. So here you go, just very typical DPS build, but yeah, I would generally prefer the Ocean Waves just to cycle her skills more. And then of course we have Ira, so we are going to be abusing Ira in this case as well, and she's going to be a very key Esper here as well. So just as much speed as possible, and I gave her the Ocean set, but you can definitely work with Windwalker as well. Although some players tend to use Astral Witchcraft, but I really wouldn't recommend it because you're going to eat up your speed buff a bit too efficiently in that sense, right? So I tend to prefer Ocean Waves for her. And the reason for that is just really her third skill, right? So as you can get this cooldown down, you're able to throw more of this Brighten Garment's Watch everywhere, so more of your Esper cycle to enjoy the AP gain that this buff is going to provide, right? And then next we have Alice. You do not need to use Alice, you can use Dahlia. She works okay, she works the same sort of, but I feel like Alice is a little bit better because she provides and extends the speed buff on her third skill. And this is very important because your team needs to have the speed buff uptime at like near 100%. If it's not at 100%, it's not going to be that efficient. So just give her a lot of speed, and I think Avatara is decent for her build, but it's not going to matter all that much for this setup. So you don't even need to run her with Avatara, it's just going to improve your runs a little bit. But in most cases, you can just run her with like the fastest set possible, right? Something like that. But she needs to be slower than one Esper, and that Esper is going to be Meredith. And as you can see, Meredith is just slightly faster than Alice. So the way that you want to build her is also with the Windwalker set and just whatever, right? All that matters for her is just HP, and it's also very important that you put her at the back because you do not want her to take damage. And the reason why you don't want her to take damage even though she's a tank is because of her third skill. So this part of the skill that says if the target's HP is greater than 80%, this is actually false. I've actually clarified the developers, they have said that they were going to fix this as well, but they have not yet done so. So what this is supposed to mean is if Meredith, if her HP is greater than 80%, ability cooldown -1 turn. This is what it actually means, not the enemy's HP. So yeah, Meredith, try to put her at the back, and that's going to be good. And then of course we have Sender, and the way that you build him is just a lot of offensive power, and I think as much speed as possible because in Shadowgale I feel like you kind of need to take advantage of taking more turns in that sense. Same for Shadowstream as well. Okay, so let's see how this team works, and please pay attention to everything that I have to say because this is very important, okay? I don't want you to make any mistakes in this team. Now the positions of the Espers, they are not per chance, they are very specific, okay? So pay attention. Catherine has to be on the top left because she needs to be in front so that Ira will focus her Rising Garment's Watch buff onto herself, as you can see here. So it's very essential because whenever, because my team has very poor buffing rate, it has also very poor cleansing rate. As such, we need to give Catherine a lot of turns because she has the biggest amount of debuff removal on her kit as for like the Shadowgale content, right? Specifically for Shadowgale content. So we're trying to give her a lot of turns so that she removes a lot of the debuffs on ourselves. So as you can see here during this specific phase, we have all those debuffs, right? So we need to have a lot of turns on Catherine. But that means that we need to have all the Brighten Garment's Watch buff focusing on Catherine as much as possible, which we will get right now. So she's going to take more turns, and when our allies take more turns as well, she's going to gain more AP, and she's going to cleanse more, she's going to use her third skill more often as well. Very good stuff. And the goal right now is to make sure that she gets rid of all of her debuffs. That is just step 1 of this particular fight. So hopefully we're able to see her get rid of all of it. Alright, so there you go. So Catherine has lost all of her debuff, and this is extremely crucial. And I'm going to explain why this is the case during the DPS phase, which is coming real soon. Like right now, I think. Okay, so right now, this is the part where it's very important that Catherine has lost all of her debuffs, and let me explain why this is the case. So we only have a 14 times multiplier, which might not seem like much, but it is frankly good enough. Okay, so Ira, okay, next turn. When Ira takes the next turn, okay, which is coming soon. I want you to take a look at how her AI adapts to the situation over here. or at least the specific way my team is built. So she has her second skill up, and who do you think she's gonna buff? Do you think she's gonna buff Catherine? I'll give you guys a second to think about that, right? But the thing is, if you press auto, she actually buffs Chloe. And this is super freaking important, and this is how you can abuse Ira's mechanism or her AI. So the way her AI works is, she will only prioritize whoever's in the top left, which is true, and that's going to be Catherine. But the thing is, afterwards, she's going to prioritize whoever has a debuff that needs to be removed as well. So as you can see, Catherine does not have any debuff. And okay, wait, hold on, my Chloe actually lost all her debuffs, what the heck? So that's rare. Catherine has lost all her debuffs, and therefore Ira changed her priority from Catherine to whoever's at the top left with a debuff that needs to be removed, and that's gonna be Chloe. So that's why she started focusing on Chloe during the DPS phase, which is very, very, very essential. It's extremely crucial as well. So yeah, this is how this team works, and the synergy is perfect right now. But of course, there's room for improvement because as you can see, our points is just like 10 million, right? It's not much. But as you can see here, this is the top score that I actually achieved with this specific team. So there is a little bit of RNG involved, which is going to lead me to my next point, which is how this team tends to fail at times as well. So this is where I am right now in my group. I currently have 15.8 million, alright? So really close to 15.8 million. But in terms of the world formation, I'm currently at 22nd place. And I think no one else has my team, and that's why this is the case. But anyway, as you can see, my average damage is only 11.8 million, right? But my top damage was 15.8 million, so naturally we will have certain runs that is going to go below EX++, below 10 million. And in fact, we do have some runs that sometimes drop all the way down to 6 million for some reason. So that means that there is a lot of room for improvement in this particular setup. And I'm going to show you why exactly sometimes we don't get a really good score, or rather why sometimes we just get a really terrible score. So we're going to take a look at this run again, and the way that this team tends to not do so well is because we kind of run out of our speed buff a little bit too early, or we do not get the Brisingamer's Watch buff at the right time on Catherine, or rather, we don't have it with a strong uptime on her. And if that's the case, then yeah, we will see Catherine like lagging a little bit, which is really bad because we need to get rid of all the debuffs so that we can get like at least a 14 times multiplier. If we do not get a 14 times multiplier, it's going to be very difficult for us to get a good scoring because we are still able to do DPS, but it's just the multiplication that matters a lot. So I feel like 12 times multiplier kind of sucks, and that is not good enough. And hopefully we get to see a case right here where our run just kind of flops a little bit. Okay, so this is the part where Catherine needs to get rid of all the debuffs. So yeah, hopefully we see it, right? I mean, hopefully we see it, but not so efficiently. So that means hopefully we run out of the speed buff, or hopefully we don't get the Brisingamer's Watch buff uptime, which is like whatever that we are facing right now. Okay, fine. Divine Love, that focuses on herself, which is okay. So yeah, there are some situations where maybe the turn order needs to be improved. Like, this is very micromanaging. So for example, when the Brisingamer's Watch buff goes onto Catherine, Catherine should be like low AP. She should have low AP at that time, so that she's gonna benefit a lot from the Brisingamer's Watch buff. But in some cases, right, because of how fast my Catherine is, she's actually not low AP, she's actually on par with Ira. And the problem with that is she instantly loses the Brisingamer's Watch very soon. Like, she loses one tick of it very soon. Okay, now we got 12 times multiplier, which is like perfect. So this is great for our showcase, or like our failed showcase, so to speak. Right, oh, and this is another situation where, okay, so as you can see, Catherine didn't take so many turns, and as such, she still had the debuff on her. So that Divine Love, the Ira second skill, is actually still going to go onto Catherine, and that's not going to push Chloe to do more DPS, because that's not going to give Chloe more turns. So this is exactly another reason why this team might not excel so well in some cases. So there is a lot of speed tuning that needs to be improved on this setup, that's for sure. Because 11 million is not good enough. We need to have an average of like at least 13 million. And we definitely need to make sure that we get rid of all the debuffs on her. So my speed buff uptime is one of the main issues. And of course, just the AP difference that Catherine has with Ira as well. So now our score is like completely shit, right? It's like 7 million. So sometimes we do get some really terrible scores because this happens, right? So because Catherine still has the debuff and because she's not able to take more turns. So yeah, just try to think about ways that you can change your lineup a little bit. So like I said at the start of the video, it's not so important that you are super fast. It's more important that your turn orders are perfect and that Catherine is able to enjoy the most out of the Brisingamer's Watch buff. That is the most important thing. So yeah, there you go. That's it for this run. Let me know your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this setup. Let me know whether you like it or not. Let me know whether are there any ways for me to improve on this setup. So I've thought about certain ways, but I feel like it's a little bit hard for me to adjust stuff unless I replace Sander with KFC, for example, so that we have more AP pushing. I think that might work. Actually, I'm going to test this out right after this video. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, it really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.